Hello, everybody, and welcome to the afternoon tune. I'm your host, Josh, and with me is my co-host today.
Hey, this is Dusk.
And we got a good show for you people today. Doing a few movie reviews, then doing a little bit of news, then be heading out of here, rating somebody. We got a movie reviews for The Killer's Game. The Killer's Game, the new Dave
Mhm.
Bautista movie out right now. Didn't get a chance to review it last week. Going to review it this week today. And Dust has a couple reviews of his own, some solo reviews there, some movies I was not able to catch there. He's going to be reviewing Reagan, and he's going to be reviewing Am I Racist? He's going to be giving a review for that, the documentary film. Um, yeah, and then news-wise, the only thing news-wise I got right now is Mickey 17, the trailer for that drop. It's the new Bong Joon-ho film. I'm very much looking forward to that.
Mm.
His last movie was Parasite, which I think is an amazing movie. So let's see
Before
what he
that, he did The Host, which is a very underrated movie as well.
Yes, and this was a movie that was supposed to come out this year, but it got delayed till next year. So that was kind of disappointing to hear when that happened.
Mm.
But yeah, it's going to be coming out next year. I think in January. So beginning of the year, it's coming out next year. So yeah, so something to look forward to at the beginning of 2025. But yeah, Bong Joon-ho hasn't missed yet. As far as I'm concerned, there pretty much got a great streak going for himself. So we get a reaction to that. I know also there was the Anna Kendrick movie. She's doing a directorial debut since I don't know. We'll do that one, I guess. React to that trailer. And then also react to Dogman. I know that trailer Dust told me about that, so I don't know. Fuck it, why not? Um, we'll react to that one. So yeah, and then after that, we'll go ahead and raid somebody. If Dust has any suggestions or anybody in the chat has any suggestions, please let me know, and I'll go ahead and give them a raid. I see some good people on right now. I see Yadira's on right now. She's playing some Fortnite. I see Viper Fox is on right now. She's doing some
Mm.
art. What is she drawing? I think she's drawing some Marvel versus Capcom 2 characters. Oh, she's drawing Psylocke. I think she's drawing Psylocke. Yeah, she is. Okay, she's drawing Psylocke there. Also, Miss Gina
Mm.
Darling is on. She's playing Black Myth Wukong. Mini Portable's on right now. I think what wrestling event is on today? Oh, it's AEW. AEW is on today. So she's gonna do that. Future stream. So Friday, we're gonna be doing a stream. Nick hopefully will be joining me this upcoming Friday, probably 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Scheduled as of right now. We're gonna be doing a review for Transformers 1, the animated Transformers film. And we're going to be doing a review for The Substance, which is this new movie with Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley. I'm hearing good things about it, The Substance. I'm very excited to see it. I'll be watching it tomorrow. I get a late screening there tomorrow. There and that actually, funny enough, since we're talking about Reagan, that movie also stars Dennis Quaid in it. He's going
Hmm.
to be in The Substance, so I'm excited, looking forward to that movie there. Then also, I know that movie with Halle Berry drops this week called what's it called? Let me see what this movie is called. I want to say Not Like Us, but it's I know it's not like us.
No.
The hell is the name of this movie? Hold on, just a second. Never Let Go. Never Let Go.
Yeah, that's close.
Yeah. I got some of the letters right there. So yeah, Never Let Go. That movie's coming out this week. So I'll maybe watch that this Saturday and then give a review for it. Maybe that Saturday if I can have somebody come on, or I'll just wait till next Friday. But that's what we got on the docket for this upcoming Friday. To do Saturday, I don't have anything planned. Sunday, I don't have anything planned as of yet. This Monday, I am going to be doing a stream with Sage from Rated Infant Maturity. We are going to be doing Hunter x Hunter, and we are going to be doing Terminator 1984 since it is the 40th year anniversary of Terminator. So we do a review of that. Yeah, so that's some future upcoming streams that we got planned. Yeah, but how's everything going with you, Dusk?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Trying to watch all these movies here, trying to get
Hmm.
caught up. Also got some shows. I'm gonna have somebody come on next Saturday and do a review for interview with the vampire. Do a review for that. I'm hearing really great things about the show. I'm only on the first episode. I haven't finished it yet.
It
Uh,
if of season one,
yeah,
it's hit or miss depending on how you look at it. For fans of the books, it's okay. It's all right. They add a lot of stuff a lot of unnecessary stuff in the adaptation, and some people are okay with it. Some people are not. So it's kind of mixed.
Mm, yeah. So, I've heard about the show, but
Mhm.
yeah, seen it and interested to check it out there. I have seen the movie Interview with the Vampire, and I did watch, because I think they've only done,
They've only done two of the books,
yeah, 2 of the, because they did
Queen of the
Queen of the
Damned and
Damned.
Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah, they've only done 2 of those.
Very different tones between the two of them.
Yeah, and the only reason I haven't ever seen Queen of the Damned, but the only reason I know of it is because of Aaliyah was in it. I think that was
Mhm.
her, was that her last movie? I think it was Queen of the Damned. But yeah, and then Anne Rice, I mean, she passed away very recently.
Mm.
I think she passed away, I wanna say a couple years ago, very recently. Anne Rice did. Yeah, it was 2021. She passed away a few years ago. So, yeah. So she's very famous for writing those books there. Damn, it's 13 books. Damn. Okay. Yeah, 13 books. Have you read all the vampire series, Brooks? The Vampire
No,
Club?
I have not.
Okay. What have you just read? Interview with the Vampire and.
I mean, I've watched videos of people who go into the books because while they were talking about the Interview with the Vampire series, and so
Mhm.
that's through osmosis. I sort of know some of the more details of it, but
Okay.
I haven't read them myself.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, yeah. I've just read the first one. I've only ever read the first interview. I've only ever read the first one myself. But yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's upcoming there. What else there? Trying to get through some of this anime too. I know Joker's coming up. That's going to be a big review for us. Joker. That's going to be coming out. Venom as well pretty soon. The third Venom movie, Venom: The Last Dance.
Mhm.
He's going to be hanging out with Michael Jordan in the 1980, 1998 Bulls there. So he's going to be doing that,
I
and
mean,
then
why not at this point?
why not? Might as well do a crossover: Space Jam plus
Yeah,
Venom.
Space Jam Venom. Why not?
Yeah.
It's just as Looney Tunes.
Yeah, Michael Jordan come out, battling the fucking Venom and shit, dunking on him. Yeah, why not? Yeah, sure. So yeah, that's what we got planned there for future streams and what we got there. So let's see. I'm gonna click this off here. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do my review. It'll be a pretty short review here of the Killer's Game. Dustin do his reviews there of Reagan and Am I Racist? And then we do the trailer reactions. And then yeah. All right, let me pull up my notes for this movie. And we'll go ahead and I get started with my review. Dust did not see this movie. Yeah, get a chance to see
Mhm.
the Killer's Game, the gloriousness of Dave Bautista. He did not get to. He missed the opportunity.
Unfortunately.
Missed the opportunity to see this. Um. All right, Dusk.
Mhm.
Don't you just hate it when you go to the doctor and he tells you, "Hey, man, you got a life-ending disease. You only got a few months to live," only for the doctor to call you back up and go like, "You know what, man? I was just playing. Actually, that was my bad. Something got crossed in the wires. I gave you the wrong file. I read the wrong file, mixed up the names." And that's kind of what happens here in this movie. So you have Dave Bautista, who plays Joe Flood, who is an assassin, expert assassin, has a very high prestigious reputation of being a good killer. Then all of a sudden he starts getting these headaches. He goes to the doctor. He tells him that, hey, you have this disease and you only got a certain amount of time to live. And he's like, well, since I have this terminal illness that's going to kill me, I'm going to basically take out a hit on myself and go out with a bang. So I'm going to basically contract all these killers to come after me. And, he figures that'd be a perfect way to kind of go out that way, but only for the doctor to kind of call him up later, just before the clock strikes midnight of when the actual contract is going to be initiated. He's like, "Yeah, I kind of made a mistake here. My bad. Mixed up the names there, and you actually aren't really dying. You know what I mean? Congratulations. That's not
Mhm.
going to happen to you. You're just going to have a bunch of, but also crazed assassin killers after you now. That's the only problem you have to worry about." And people kind of with him through this kind of journey here. He has a love interest in this movie played by Sophia Butella. People know probably Sophia Butella. She was just in the Zack Snyder movies, Rebel Moon and such.
Unfortunately.
Yes, unfortunately for her, she was also the woman with the bent back paper clips for legs in the Kingsman movies there.
Fortunately.
And she's also been in movies like Star Trek Beyond as well. So yeah, so that's kind of your basic setup here. Wacky kind of setup you have for a movie like this. Um, Pretty straightforward, cut and dry. What you kind of expect from it. I mean, what you see, what you get here. You got some good action scenes. I think for a little bit for as many as there are in here. It follows your traditional assassin stuff if you've seen enough assassin movies there, like, each assassin that he kinda comes across, it's almost like a video game, each one has their own little thing, their own little kind of, gimmick there, like, there's one assassin who, like, dances while he kills people, he listens to, salsa music while he does it. There's one assassin that, I think you saw it in the trailer there as well, a group of Asian assassins that wear jumpsuits, track jumpsuits and everything there. They work in coordination with each other. There's some Scottish assassins there, that travel together, and kill people. So each one has their own kinda little gimmick and thing that kinda goes after you've seen that plenty of times in plenty
Mm,
of other assassin movies that you've seen before. Um Dave Bautista in this, who we've seen, he's really, I think, one of the best wrestler turned actors I think we've seen there. It's funny how he just kinda came out of nowhere, kinda leapfrogged, Rock, kinda leapfrogged even I think a little bit John Cena. I think the only other person that's really competing with him, as far as being the best wrestler turned actor, probably John Cena. I think what he's done, a lot of his stuff there.
yeah,
Uh
the variety as well. I think they all start out with the action motif and then they kind of work their way up, but unlike a few others, he's been able to kind of transcend it a bit and trying to move on. I think John Cena's also in that field now. Where it's like I kind of want to do. I've been doing other things now. I can do drama. I can do other stuff.
mm.
Uh, Considering where John Cena came from, though, it's far more impressive because he was in the Marine, and that's one of the worst. Like he cannot. He just could not act in that one. That was really early on, but I mean the same thing with The Rock, but unlike the other two, The Rock is kind of remained the same. He
Mhm.
doesn't really do drama. He doesn't really do much else.
Yeah. And I hope The Rock, I think he's gonna be in the new Safdie Brothers movie.
Hmm.
I forgot the name of it, but he's gonna be playing, I think the person's name is Mark Johnson, I wanna say. And I think that'll be a real great career defining role for him if it turns out, if it's really good. I think that'll really be a career defining role.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, and The Rock, I mean, I think he can. I think he's got the potential. I mean, he was very great in Pain and Gain. I loved him in that movie, Pain and Gain.
That's probably his most the most variety he's given in a role.
Yeah. So I really liked him in that. And Dave Bautista, like I say, he's got great variety there. He's been in things like Dune, which he kind of showed that off in. Knock at the Cabin, he showed that off. And yeah, like I say, so he's got a good, portfolio resume there of kind of these different kind of movies. Not just the Marvel stuff there, but also things like he was in the Ryan Johnson film, Glass Onion and such. So, yeah, he really mixes it up and tries kind of different things there, which I really do appreciate. This one in the role of Joe Flood, it seems like he's kinda, I don't know, sleepwalking through it a little bit. I don't
Mm.
really feel as much charisma or energy from him in this movie as I've seen from him in other films there, which is a shame. It really, I mean, the tension there of, all these assassins kinda coming at him really is not there because he just dispatches with these people pretty quickly. It's not even
Aw,
really, it's not it's not really like that
there's no
exciting.
tenseness,
Not really. I mean, and I know people say, like, with something like John Wick, I mean, he kinda does the same thing where he kinda kills a bunch of
but he
the
gets
assassins.
hit and hurt.
He does, he gets hit and hurt, he gets knocked down, but here it's just like, I mean, I'm trying to think, like, does he really barely get touched in this? Dave Bautista, I'm trying to think if he really even gets hit or punched hard or knocked down too much. I was like, not really." Like, he dispatches people pretty quickly in this, with
Mm,
fairly much ease. And you look at the supporting cast of this movie, you look at it, I already mentioned, Sophia Boutella, but you also have Pom Kimmelty, who was also a Marvel alum. She was with him in, Guardians of the Galaxy, where she was, not Nebula, what's her name in, Guardians of the Galaxy? Shit, I forgot. But anyway, you know her from Guardians of
mhm.
the Galaxy. Yeah, she's in this as well. She's one of the people that hires out the assassins. And then you also have Terry Crews is in this, who kind of like his whole thing is like he's almost like feels like a throwback to like a 70s type black exploitation character there. That if they ever kind of maybe if they maybe did a spinoff there, maybe be interested to see a spinoff with his character. It's kinda coming close a little to caricature there, but I think maybe that's the point of it a little bit. You also have Ben Kingsley in this, who plays the handler for Dave Bautista's character, um, who, he's good. I mean, he's decent in this, there as kinda his handler. He's got some fun moments. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, pretty cut and dry. What you see is what you get here. Um if you're expecting some really things to really shock you or surprise you, there, even the action is just kind of plain. Given some of the exciting action movies that we've had come out this year, something like Boy Kills World or Kill or Monkey Man,
Mm,
that really, to me, the action is really very impressive to watch and really gets you involved in the story and has a compelling story to match the action. Yeah, you had action movies that come out this year that have kind of done both those things very well, and this one kinda comes out and just kinda like, eh. I mean, I think you would rather have more enjoyment seeing it at home rather than seeing it in a movie theater, where I think it's probably best suited. So for that reason, I think I would give it kinda just a plain stream it there.
mm.
I can't really give it anything higher than that. So yeah, just a plain stream it for the Killers game there. It is in theaters right now. People want to check it out there for the time being. Um, yeah. So that's my thoughts on that.
That's
Uh,
unfortunate.
any questions at all there, Dustin?
Uh, does Sophia Boutella do anything in this movie other than being a love
Uh,
interest? Does she kick some ass too?
she kicks one dude in the face. I mean, here
Okay.
she's able to because the movie. I mean, they get introduced because he's carrying out a hit at a ballet performance.
Mm.
So she's actually able to incorporate because she was a dancer before she became an actor. So she's able to incorporate that into the role there. So which is I bet was good for her to do that.
She
Um,
was also a dancer in real life.
yeah, that's what I said. She was a dancer before she became a actor, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, she was a dancer in, real life there, yeah. Um,
Well, that's
and yeah,
nice.
so she was able to bring that up, and there is a scene talking about a little bit about her career and, about that, and I can only imagine that maybe some of that is kinda real life of her saying like, "Yeah, I've had kinda some stress fractures and ankle injuries and things like that," and I would maybe assume because yeah, I mean, she mentions that dancing is a young man's game, it's a young person's game there to do that for a long time. It's just like any other sport, I
Mhm.
would imagine there that puts all that pressure on your body, and if you look at some dancers, ballet dancers, yeah, they got fucked up feet. I mean, they got some really fucked up feet.
Oh, they do. That's an they don't really talk about it, but it's a if you're really getting into dancing or any type of sport, it shit gets real. They just tell you up front, like, okay, this is basically what you're if you can reach like the top percentile and get the real fame, you kind of have to sacrifice your body and do this real early because you're competing with people who are starting when they're like 5.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, so I can imagine that. Yeah. So that is my review for the Killer's Game there.
Mm.
Katie said, Prince of Egypt. So yeah, I don't think I've ever seen Prince of Egypt. Have you seen the
What?
movie?
You've never seen Prince of Egypt?
No, I've never seen it.
You never seen the animated movie?
No, never seen it.
That's one of the best animated movies ever made.
Really? Okay.
It's one of the best animated I think. It's personally, it's a beautiful film. Very, excellent acting. There's one scene in particular when he is speaking to Ramses that I think should be studied in animation. The amount of emotions in that face that
Mm,
he, in just like a 5-second scene, you can feel so much in the that they animate on the screen. Yeah, it's Prince of Egypt is a very a gem, a very much a gem, underrated movie.
and then Katie
It pretty much created DreamWorks' career alongside Shrek.
and this movie came out in 1998.
Mm.
And Katie's mentioned the song, so I guess it's a really great
Mhm.
song, and
There's a lot of it has a great soundtrack.
I don't think I've even heard music from Prince of Egypt. Um,
It goes hard. From the very
oh,
beginning, it goes hard.
hmm,
Probably
maybe
one
I
of the
should
more, adults it doesn't treat you like a kid.
mm. And she says Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey singing.
Mhm.
Okay. They are 2 of the greatest well, Whitney Houston was one of the greatest vocalists of our time, and so is Mariah Carey. Alright, I'll go ahead and watch it. I'll go ahead and turn on Prince of Egypt, and give it a watch there. Yeah, well, thank you all, for
Mhm.
shaming me into watching I'll be watching Prince of Egypt, and maybe I'll even do a review for it, 'cause I'll go ahead and
You
watch it.
should.
The animation looks really good, I mean, this
Oh,
is,
it's phenomenal.
the
The
reason
animation's
'cause
phenomenal.
on Twitter there, yeah, Netflix put up a post about it, about the animation of it, and, yeah. Still looks really good.
Oh yeah, it holds up very well.
Yeah,
Playing with the big boys, not
yeah. So does he, put his staff in the water like Gandalf and say, "You shall not pass," or something? Or
no, he splits the goddamn sea, sir.
oh, he ripped it off from Gandalf, didn't he?
Like Gandalf ripped it off from him.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
Moses, sir.
all right. Let's go on to this next review here. It's gonna
Hmm.
be a dust review. What do you wanna do first? You wanna do, Reagan, or you wanna do Am I Ready?
I'll get Reagan. I'll get
Okay.
Reagan out of the way.
Let me, pull up my trailers for this one. All right. All right. So Dusk is going to do a solo review for the
Hmm.
film Reagan, which is starring Dennis Quaid. Dusk, take it away.
All right, Reagan, the 2024 film is about the life and times of Ronald Reagan, both as a president and his life throughout. He's like throughout being a born again Christian, working as a lifeguard, a radio announcer, getting into Hollywood, becoming an actor, and the many different trials and tribulations he went through his life to getting up to the point where he eventually became president of the United States. The many people he met along the way, and the many people that he that he's unfortunately had to go through or tussle with in order to get to be the person he was when he became president. It also talks about the story of his romantic life with Nancy Reagan and their relationship throughout the years as he had his ups and downs, both from his challenges when he was uh, tr- trying to talk with General Ford on his Republican nomination, when he was with the Republican National Convention, when that he lost to Jimmy Carter, to the famous "A Time for Choosing" speech in 1964, Republican presidential candidate when he was trying to run for California in 1966, and when he is like eventually had to send a state national guard when he clashed with student radicals at the University of California in Berkeley, to all the way in the 1985 when he was dealing with the Iran Contra scandal, meeting with Gorbachev, the Geneva summit, and a strategic defense initiative, and why he wanted to stick around for that. And then, of course, the tear down with the Berlin Wall speech he gave until eventually, and as like after retirement and taking one last ride with his Secret Service agent, John Barletta, who was with him during that time, and the many ups and downs of Ronald Reagan. The I mentioned all these things in it because they're all in it. It feels like a pastiche of the life and times of Ronald Reagan. And just about when you feel like they're going to cover something a little more deep in the time period that he's in, they move on to the next scene. It really feels like every time you're there, a new actor is present, and you're like, "Who's this character? Oh, okay, they said his name. Okay, all right, okay," and then they move on. And it just keeps going more and more and more as time moves on. You never really get a sense of the position in time as best as they can do. It just feels like it's moving from scene to scene. We got to get through his entire life. I think Dennis Quaid does fine in the role he's in. I just wish the script was unfortunately better. And as much as like you want, I wanted the relationship between Dennis Quaid and Penelope Ann Miller, who plays Nancy Reagan. I think they have some solid chemistry, but Nancy really doesn't have much to do, and she really just feels like the attaboy, you can do it, Ronald Reagan.
Mm,
Because if I'm going to be perfectly honest, this feels like one of these early 2000s to mid 2000s biopics we saw a lot of, where it's just kind of a pastiche of a film. They're covering a whole person's life. There's not a lot of time to really focus on it. And honestly, as much as they try to, the people who made this film clearly have a great respect for Ronald Reagan. They clearly do. The problem is it's kind of like it's a little too glossy, a little too respectful, because they really just kind of gloss over a lot of his mistakes, a lot of the mistakes he makes as a person, and they kind of just lift him up a little bit too much to be this icon, this character. Yeah, he has his mistakes, but he's just trying to do his best, you know? Is again that really kind of does a disservice for if you're trying to paint a more nuanced story.
Mm. What do you think resemblance wise? You think he's pretty spot on?
I think honestly, when you see him and he's in the makeup, he does the things. He may not be a spot on reflection of Ronald Reagan, but he's able to carry some of the inflections. Although, if I'm going to be perfectly honest, sometimes he felt more like a caricature of Ronald
Mm,
Reagan and not the person.
yeah. I don't know. I mean, listen, Dennis Wade, handsome guy. I mean, 70 years old, very handsome man. That's a that's a pretty goofy ass picture of Dennis
I
Quaid.
know, I know. Hey,
I mean,
man.
I
I
don't
mean,
like
that's
that.
a great look at that smile.
I don't. He kind of got like a Jack Nicholson Joker smile right
Look at
there.
that
But
smile. How can
yeah.
you say no to that smile?
So yeah, so kind of saying, I mean, that's what the case with a lot of biopics is kind of, especially when you're doing historical figures, is like
Mhm.
kind of feels like a collage of the greatest hits of their moments of their
Yeah.
lives. That's why we kind of felt about the Marley Bob Marley movie that came out. It's like it doesn't really go in depth too much of any aspect of his life. It just
Mhm.
kind of goes through a lot of the greatest hits and hey, these are all the big moments, and here you go. So that's kind of the case here with Reagan, is what you're saying.
Yeah, unfortunately, it reminded me of Marley, I think, was able to contain itself in a culture at the period of time. And while it was more of a pastiche, they did bring up things that was in the culture, and you could tell there's a lot of respect for the is like for Marley. They were trying to do their best while trying to pay service to his care to him as a person, without and adding little nuances here and there. I'm going to be perfectly honest. Ronald Reagan has a long history, like really long history as a character. Like it feels like he's starting off he's born as a born again Christian, and he wants to get into politics. He eventually becomes a FBI informant. He divorces. He has a wife. He had his first wife with Jane Wyman, and they got in a divorce. And then, snap your fingers. Okay, now he's meeting Nancy Davis, and he helps her out because she's mistaken for another Nancy Davis who was on a blacklist because it was the Red Scare. And then, oh no, now he's appearing in a commercial in General Electric Theater, which was happening around the 1960s. And it's just like boom, 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 boom. It's like you're like on a roller coaster of the different life and times of Ronald Reagan. And I want to care, I want to, but you're just slipping past so many people and so many characters that at a certain point I was just like, honestly, you could just have titles under their name,
Mm.
and that would almost help a little bit. Like, oh, that's who you are, okay. But if you have no reference for Ronald Reagan or the history in culture, you're not going to get much out of this. If this was like, for instance, if you don't know much about that time period, I don't think this movie's going to help you. Like, oh, that was the time. That was all the different impacts he kind of had. It's there, but it feels almost disingenuous. That you can feel they're trying. They are genuinely trying. Dennis Quaid is trying. The actress who plays Nancy Reagan,
Penelope Ann
Natalie
Miller.
Ann Miller, she's trying. All the supporting cast is trying, but there's just so many
And this
because his
movie
life is
is
so long. Like he did so many things.
and this movie's what, 2 hours plus, right? 2 hours and
Yeah,
12 minutes?
2 hours plus, and it still feels like that it's
Mm,
not enough time is given to it. This is the biopics are hard by nature because especially covering a person's life. You almost do ironically get just the greatest hits and that's it, and they don't have much time to go in deeper.
mm,
And unfortunately, the fact that they treat him with not as much nuance and more of a caricature of Ronald Reagan, that you just kind of see what almost like what Republican slash what Americana wants people to. He's a character you want to remember him as, not who he was. You know what I mean? Like the Bob Marley. Oh, that's the Bob Marley people want to remember. May not be what he who he was exactly.
yeah. And, yeah, when we talked about the Marley film, that's a lot of things that we hit too about, it's the sanitized kind of view of somebody's life there,
Hmm.
that kinda maybe they'll hint at it a little bit like with the movie Get On Up.
Mhm.
There's that moment where James Brown slaps the woman, right? When
Mhm.
and so it's kind of hinting like, okay, yeah, he did that. So we mentioned it once, so it kind of covers the lengthy kind of history he had with domestic violence, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so is there any time in this movie where it shows Reagan in an unfavorable light, or is it towards
Uh, I would say probably earlier on when he gets his divorce with Jane Wyman and him butting his heads with Herbert Sorrell. I think that's his name, Herbert Sorrell. Yeah, the union organizer when he was an FBI informant. He has tussles here and there, but it's always shown from a point of view of I'm just trying to do the right thing. We're just
mm,
not seeing eye to eye.
okay.
Eh,
Uh
even when in the late 80s, even in late 80s, he's still like, "Oh, I wanna sign this agreement. I'm reluctant to sign this agreement because I believe in the Star Wars program, this strategic defense initiative.
yeah, yeah. I believe in George Lucas's vision. I think he
I
can
believe
really
in George Lucas's vision." Yes.
I think
I
he can
believe in
really close out the trilogy. I think he could do a good job. Um,
I want the
okay.
prequels.
Um, okay. So, what would be your rating for Reagan?
I appreciate the cinematography. There are moments where there's some suddenly ambitious cinematography, and you could feel there was money spent on some of the dolly shots, movements. But this sometimes, honestly, this movie felt like a big budgeted version of a Hallmark movie, and you just can't get that feeling out of your head. I just don't think this movie, the script, especially the script, if you're going to focus on Reagan's life, honestly, focus on a very specific time in his life. Make it very specific and hone in on it and just kind of let everything fall by the wayside. If you're going to
Mm,
talk about him and his acting career and that what led him into politics later on that he was already kind of into in the beginning, that's fine. And then you can allude to him getting into politics later. Or I'm the president now. Everything I had to do to get to this point in this major moment of like this balancing act that, oh, now I'm dealing with the Gorbachev and the Cold War, and I am now dealing with the Iran Contra scandal, but I believe in the Star War Initiative and tear down Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall in his waning days as the president while he's suffering from Alzheimer's. I think that would have been a better dramatic movie, but trying to condense it all into one, it just you just feel like you're just flying by, and the it's
yeah.
soundtrack is hit or miss, especially in certain moments. It feels really kitschy at moments. The acting really does feel characterized, and Des Quaid is a very talented actor.
Mhm.
So is like he's proven himself time and time again. I think Penelope Ann Miller does a fine job as Nancy Reagan. We just don't really get enough time or enough nuance to really get that relationship. So, with all that said, with all the supporting actors and all the things, I'm gonna give this a I'm gonna give this a low stream it,
Low streaming.
low stream it. It's bordering on a skip it.
Mm,
It was
okay.
bordering on a skip it, but it only hangs in there because I did appreciate some moments here and there. I did appreciate some of the respect in there. I just think it does, unfortunately, a disservice by being so sanitized, being so kitschy, being so like just not being able to really cover as much or in depth as I would like. Honestly, if you want to know a better story of Reagan, there are actually plenty of documentaries out there that go far more in depth and far more specific into the life of Reagan, and will give you a far better understanding of the person from there. From the documentary Ronald Reagan, I think that one came out in 2011.
Mhm.
There's one that came out in I think 2004, that earlier one, but I would recommend the 2011 one. That's pretty fair. There's a few out there that can give you a better, wider understanding of of him as a person and like the political environment that he was in, he grew up in, the culture he grew up in, and how he became into politics and what was the environment at that time.
Mm, okay. Box office wise, this movie, so it's made worldwide. Let's see
It's
here.
not a lot. The budget was
24,
25, and it's at this point it's only made like 24, I think.
24 point, yeah, 24.2 million. It's the money it's made there. So it has maybe do about 50 million, coming close to there to really break even, do kind of well there.
I was
Uh,
at least happy to see John Voight. That was kind of a
yes,
surprise.
John Voight is yes, he's also in this. I heard they do kind of some wonky like de-aging technology with Denzel.
Yeah, because throughout the story, he's the story is told from the perspective of John Voight, who plays a KGB agent Viktor Petrovich, who is basically questioned why the Soviet Union fell, and they use that as a quiche to bring in the who was assigned to surveil Reagan and discuss like Soviets' past ambitions to infiltrate DC and Hollywood, and he talks about his life as well. But and that's kind of like how it leads into him knowing about Reagan and knowing about the situation that happened, like his life and how it kind of blends in. So they use that as like to like him and his different moments in his life and how he would know about it. So that's kind of how they start the film, and he as a introduction to the life and times of Reagan. It's okay. I think the aging is okay. Honestly, probably would have just been better if it's like a mix of makeup and CG. It's just I'm sorry, John Voight's just too old.
Yeah, John Voight is what, in his 80s, 70s?
Yeah, man, he's in his 80s, bro. Like,
Yeah, 85. Okay,
yeah, yeah. John Voight is old.
yeah.
And he looks
Um,
good for honestly, he's good for his age, honestly.
yeah. Yeah, I guess you could say that. I mean, hey, if you're still up, still moving around, still mobile, I think that's a win at that
Yeah.
age. Yeah, biopics are tough. I think we saw a great one last year in Oppenheimer that really detailed a lot about the life of J. Robin Oppenheimer. But a lot of what some biopics would
Mhm.
do, instead of going through, the person's whole life, they'll focus in on one area of their life, and this focused on the making of the atom bomb there
Which
by.
is probably his most interesting aspect of his life.
Yeah, so it really narrowed in and focused on that element. So I think that makes a biopic more focused when you have a specific event in a
Mhm.
life that you can kind of narrow in on, instead of
And
going
also
through all.
more palatable too.
Yeah, more palatable too there. And yeah, also this movie had a fantastic cast of everybody
Oh yeah,
there.
great cinematography, great acting, uh, top notch.
Yeah. I mean, really great movie. All one of my favorite movies last year there, and this was a biopic there. And then also, this had it tried to do something else with kind of the female love interest, because that's also another thing in these
Mhm,
movies when you have biopics about historical figures that are men, and then it's like, okay, well, what did the wife or the woman do, and then the woman's just kind of standing there.
mhm.
Here I think they do. I mean, Nolan does a lot more with that character here with Emily Blunt than probably other female kind of love interest or wives in these type of movies do. I think he did more with that character than normally is done. Especially she had a great scene in the courtroom scene. Well, not really courtroom, but when they were doing the, I guess, briefing, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
She really did really well there. So yeah, I see what you're saying about with Nancy Reagan and how that, yeah, the wife is just kind of just standing there, as well. But I do have a really good clip from Reagan, the film there, that if people wanted to.
All. Tear it down. Reagan smash. Reagan smash.
What's that?
Oh, it's just Reagan. Just leave him alone. He'll tire himself out.
Reagan sleepy.
Yeah, that's such a
Honestly,
great
that
part of the
sounds
movie.
about right. Honestly, you saved yourself a movie ticket.
Yeah, just watch that. Just watch good
Yeah,
old that. All right, so Dusk for Reagan gives it a very low streaming. All right. Dusty, got one more movie
I do.
on the docket there. And let me pull up my trailer for that. And you go ahead and get started. All right. All right. So Dusk has one more movie that he has to review there. This is going to be
Yes, I
another
do.
solo review. I did not get a chance to see this, but it's the documentary film that is out right now, starring Matt Walsh there, Daily Wire contributor, and it is I Am Racist. Dusk, what are your thoughts on this documentary?
I Am Racist stars Matt Walsh and is in charge of a mockumentary in the style of Borat. Kind of as like if Borat was more left leaning, this one's definitely more right leaning. He is also one of the major people for the Daily Wire, and he the project of this movie is basically to follow a bunch of DEI inclusion movement individuals, people who make a career on talking about DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. A lot of white is like a white guilt support groups, many different faculties, and it goes from people who are like that to even to then middle America to out on the streets. Kind of all similar style of Borat, where there's clearly settings where he's undercover, kind of talking to people and speaking with them, and then loosely held together by some skits of that aren't kind of like that. We can tell is a bit more they know on the up and up, but it's a bit more loose to kind of create like a thread line of a plot that has an ending. I think what surprised me most about this movie was how honestly funny it was. There are many moments in this movie where, depending on kind of on the fence, to just you just kind of go like, "What the fuck?" Or someone says something, or just something happens that's just kind of awkward or funny. And I was in a theater that was actually decently packed for this, and there are many times that I was laughing along with other people, and we were all laughing at the same thing. If Borat was the main thing of Borat was asking ridiculous questions to mostly normal people, Matt Walsh as an undercover DEI expert asks normal questions to ridiculous people. It just a lot of it is cringe. Is cringe. A lot of the answers, a lot of like their setups of the situations are kind of cringe, but that's also part of the comedy in it and a lot of the back and forth. The movie at one point has a quote by Thomas Sowell. If you know about him, he's an author of many different books. And one of his quotes is used in the movie, which I think is an excellent thesis for what the documentary is trying to say, at least the mockumentary is. And it's quoted as, "Racism is not dead, but it is on life support, kept alive by politicians, race hustlers, and people who get a sense of superiority by denouncing others as quote unquote racist." And I think that's what the main crutch of this mockumentary is trying to say. The mockumentary isn't trying to say, "Oh no, racism is dead," or "This is all a bunch of ridiculousness. There's no racism." No, that's not what they're saying. What this mockumentary is mostly focusing on is how, unfortunately, racism is a big business, and there's a lot of people taking advantage of racism to make money, to hustle, and take advantage of people's self guilt or biases. An example of this is a bunch. There's some younger women, white women who start in like a support group in the very beginning of the movie, and a lot of them are just he's just interacting with them, and or when he just happens to be there, are talking like, "Oh well," they think themselves pretty open minded. Think they're like, "Well, I don't consider myself racist, but I want to know more. I want to do as best I can, be a better person, and all this and that." And by the time they've gone through these quote unquote DEI experts, or going through these different shops where they pay money, by the way, they pay money to these people to sit there and at dinners and basically tell them how basically you've internalized your own racism and you don't realize it. And they by the end of the documentary, I think some of them are just so beaten down, just so hurt and broken, and just feel like all that what a confidence, self confidence they have is just kind of drained. Now there are some of them that go, "This is a bunch of bullshit, and I just basically wasted money to basically be lied to." But there's some that take it to heart, and that's the tragedy of it. There's also a on the street segment where is in the trailer, but he wants to have a Washington monument changed to the George Floyd monument, but to raise the structure by 30% and repaint it black. And he goes around and gets a lot of actual signatures from people, even if they may or may not believe in it. And it almost kind of is an interesting question of what we, even if we don't believe in something, almost like a herd mentality, what might like agree with, but just to like not be seen as different. And then in the middle of the movie, at one point, he goes to Middle America and tries to actually go to like a biker club and ask, "Oh, how do you feel about your internalized whiteness?" And they're just like drinking like a beer and going, "What? What the fuck are you talking about?" And you just get all kinds of walks of life in it that by the end, you kind of see the unfortunate grift, and the ultimate message of the documentary is at the end of the day, we're all people, and the only real way to kind of get around this, as one of the Black Americans interviewed says, the only real solution to racism is to love one another. And I think that's ultimately what this documentary is trying to say is at the end of the day, try and love one another and do the best you can.
Okay. All right. So what would be your rating for the movie?
I actually quite enjoyed this documentary. It's going to be a shame because I know a lot of people just from the personality of Matt Walsh will probably go, it's going to be very right wing. It's going to come in there. It's going to be very super biased, and I'm not going to enjoy it. But on its own, I was actually quite astonished on how he tried his best to be very central on it. He tried to just take the situations, ask normal questions, and got got situations that were abnormal by asking these normal questions. He tried the best he could. Well, yes, it's in a Borat style, and yes, he's in a disguise at certain points. A lot of times he doesn't do anything, and people just kind of narc on themselves or bring up situations that are kind of ridiculous. And it really paints a very interesting picture. It says a lot about us. It says a lot about this DEI environment. It says a lot about people abusing and using that to intimidate, using that to make money, using that to try and get clout when it may be pretty unfounded. I think it's a very well done documentary. There's some things I don't agree with necessarily in how he made the approach in making it, but ultimately, I think it was a well done, well put together style of a mockumentary with some genuine. I mean, it's a genuine good message, at least a nice message in it that we all should just care about one another, and it was actually funny for a lot of it. For the most part, I mean, it'll depend on who you are if you'll laugh as much as I did, but I did find it funny, and I did find the situations interesting enough as their own. And because of that, I have to give this a strong tune in. Maybe even hmm, yeah, I'm bordering on a low peak, but I'm gonna go with a strong tune in. This is definitely a movie I would recommend going to the theaters and seeing. I think
Um,
it's definitely earned it.
Let me see. Let me see how it's doing in the box office right
It's
now.
doing actually quite well for a documentary.
Let's see
In
here.
my theater, it was actually surprisingly packed.
So it's at top 5 right now in the box office. Right now, and total, it's made 5 million right now, close to 6 million. It's only been released domestically, right now. So it has that going against it. And I forgot to mention this with the
Mhm.
Reagan movie, which Dust just reviewed before this. Just mentioning, I guess, there's an audience for this type of stuff that, do it dedicated. That's why you see a lot of faith-based movies.
Mhm.
And so that's a very dedicated audience of
Oh yeah,
people
very
there
dedicated.
that will go see something like this. Let me see. I don't know exactly what the budget on this was on this movie.
Or I mean, am I racist or Reagan? Which one?
This movie.
3 million.
So yeah, it was a $3 million budget there. So yeah, and it's so far 5.6 million. Yeah, so it's at that right now. Yeah.
And honestly, on my way out, there were a lot of from passerbys, people. There was a lot of positive praise for the movie overall. So a lot of good word of mouth overall for this movie. So, and honestly, I would recommend it if you get the chance. Go see it. Don't be embarrassed to go into this movie. It's not what some people are saying. He's not. It's a. It, try to at least just try to give it a chance. If you're uncomfortable with it or you're not going to go see it, I understand. But yeah, if you want to go see something kind of different, this one's not bad. It's not bad.
So this is now according to Wikipedia here. So if you the
Mm.
highest grossing documentary film of 2024, surpassing the previous holder, Jesus Thirst here. I don't know anything about Jesus Thirst, but yeah, surpassed that one. And then and this is from the Hollywood Reporter. And it says the top debut 2024 so far for a doc and the third biggest of the past decade, according to Hollywood Reporter. So you have that. Yeah. Yeah, I can't think of the I don't know last big documentary film. As far as like getting big at the box office. I know a lot of Michael Moore movies. His tend to do super well at the box office, I believe. So,
They
uh,
they did. The last one wasn't as big.
do, 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 do. Yeah, his is number one of all time. His is number one, and yeah, Fahrenheit 9/11. Uh, and then, do you know what the second one is?
I do not.
It is March of the Penguin.
Oh yeah, that was quite big at the time.
Yeah. And then the rest of these are some of these are just concert films that you have here. Justin Bieber's Never Say Never is third. Michael Jackson's This Is It. Um, there's the Under the Sea 3D. I don't know what that one is, but I don't know. It doesn't James Cameron seem like he'd be the type of guy to make a documentary going under the sea or some shit like that.
Yeah, honestly, with all the footage he probably has.
Yeah. Yeah. Fighting Cthulhu or whatever the fuck he's doing.
I mean, honestly, if anyone's gonna do it and raise the bar, it's James Cameron.
So yeah. So you give it a strong tune in. Just give us a strong tune in for the documentary film. Am I racist there? All right. Do some of these trailer reactions,
Mhm.
and then we'll head out of here. We'll start with we'll go Dogman, and then we'll do Woman of the Hour, and then we'll go ahead to Mickey 17 there. We'll go that way. All right. Let me pull up some of my notes for this film. See what it's about. All right. So, Dust put me onto this. He was so excited to talk about Dogman. He couldn't wait. He said, "Man, please, can we please break down the Dogman trailer?" I was like, "All right, Dust. I don't really do much for you, man." I was like, "Sure, I can play the Dogman trailer for you." So this is from the same creator as the Captain Underpants. So this is based on the book series there from the same creator as Captain Underpants. Let's take a look at the trailer here. See what we got going on here.
Dogman!
When the streets are held hostage,
Bomb! Break the dog! Hit the siren! Ow!
two of the city's finest must come together
Green, red, green?
Wait, aren't dogs colorblind?
and fight as one.
What if we sew the dog's head onto the man's body?
Oh, it's a face-off situation here. Is this what's happening? Oh, okay.
Mm.
Some good body horror type. Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm intrigued now. All right, let's go.
Great idea! Dogman! This super cop made
But why does
friends-
he have dog colored arms if you just swap the head?
That's a very good question, sir. I do not have an answer for you.
Mm.
solves crime, and even plays piano for the old folks.
Enough about this dog man. It's time to stop this super cop.
And that's Pete Davidson.
He's not going to ruin my evil plans to destroy all do-gooders.
How evil can one cat be?
Pretty evil. Dog man, listen up. You're the only one that can stop him. With all your kung fu skills and your canine fortitude or whatnot. No time to...
So is since you're the lore expert on
Oh,
Dog
Lord.
Man, here, Dust. So is Dog Man? So he's got kind of like a Hung Kung Fooey type abilities here. He's a little,
I don't know.
you know.
Maybe.
Hmm.
I just think this cliche. It's probably just this movie looks to be pretty much like a cliche. It's a
Mm.
cliche of everything rolled into an animated movie.
Yeah. Got the angry black police chief here, voiced by Lil Rel Howery.
I do appreciate that all the writing so far has been in like very childish handwriting.
Oh yeah, you see that chief. Oh yeah, see the flag on his desk there, name tape. Yeah. I love my mayor.
Yeah.
You have that.
waist. Cut it out. Stop it. Will you get out of here? Go and arrest Petey, and I don't care if it takes a montage. Buckle up. Oh, Dogman, you only have one job to do. Keep your eyes on those monitors. So if somebody breaks out your favorite chew toy and waves it around, you look at the monitors. And if somebody just happens to have an Eastern gray squirrel, you look at the monitor.
I think those basically covered all the big dog tropes. I think,
Pretty much.
except there's no postman gag in this. There's usually a postman gag. You have in a dog movie, kind of required. But there.
Why do you always gotta lick the inside of my mouth?
All right, January 31st, Dogman's coming out. That's gonna be first in line. All right, yeah. So this movie's gonna be directed. Oh, Luc Besson is directing. Oh, okay. Fucking random,
What?
Luc Besson.
I didn't
Okay.
even know that.
And people don't know Luc Besson. Luc Besson was the director of Nikita. He's also the director of The Fifth Element. He also did Leon
Leon the
Professional,
Professional,
which is probably his most famous film. Was Leon the Professional?
Taken.
Yeah, he did yeah, he did the first Taken, right?
Yeah, he did the first Taken.
Yeah. Wow, that is fucking random. Right there, out of all the people there, Luc Besson. Okay, I wonder if this is his first animated film. I wonder. Probably. I mean, I don't know anything else he's done. Animated wise, but okay, yeah. Uh, Luc Besson is directing Dog Man. All right, uh, let's go. All right. So our next trailer here is going to be for the new Anna Kendrick film here. This is her directorial debut. It is a Netflix movie. It's called Woman of the Hour. I'll cue this up. Let's take a look at it. I do enjoy Anna Kendrick. I think she's a good actress there. I've liked her in quite a bit of many things. Things like Pitch Perfect, things like A Simple Favor. I really did love A Simple Favor. I did really like that movie quite a bit. I thought that was pretty good. And she was also in Scott Pilgrim versus the World. She was Scott's sister in that movie
Mm.
there. All right, let's take a look at this film, Woman of the Hour.
Oh my God, where are we? What is this place? Anyway, I'm auditioning in a week.
That's in the bag.
Oh yeah, you think so?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you have this like Petty Smith vibration thing going on. Oh, soul.
Okay.
Mm.
Sorry. I think that's good. That's good. I'm into that.
Mm.
We came from the sunset.
How do you feel right now?
Fine.
He came from
I didn't know this was based on a true story. I did not know that this movie was based on a true story.
Well, you got to be careful on the based on a true story.
So it's based on the serial killer by the name of Rodney Alakila. Here was an American serial killer and sex offender who was sentenced to death there. Who in 1978 appeared on the television show The Dating Game in the midst of his murder spree. And the film revolves around the events of the game show and stars Kendrick as the contestant, Cheryl Bradshaw there. Oh, okay. All right.
Excuse me, man. Can you give us another round? We'll have to get out of here then, huh? I'll walk with you. Hey.
Yeah. And there's one of them mentioned here, a tremendous directorial debut. You see a lot of actors now do a lot of directorial debuts. We just saw. Did you see Zoe Kravitz with Blink Twice? Did you end up seeing that?
I didn't when we reviewed it.
Okay, but you have seen it since.
I have.
And what were your thoughts on that?
I appreciate Nick's very exuberance on it. I didn't find it particularly as particularly interesting or as great as he had found it. I found I found it actually kind of interesting. It started off all right and then just kind of divulged into kind of meanderingness with some moments of comedy and tonal issues, which Nick applauded, but I found quite distracting. And ultimately, I found the ending quite, honestly, just I don't know what to think of the ending. The ending was kind of like, what?
Mm. Okay.
So
Yeah,
it's,
I guess
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I guess I kind of see that a little bit with that movie. Yeah, I guess I can see what you're saying.
Mhm.
I saw it. I didn't review it with him. I saw it later on. I guess I kind of get a bit of that.
Hey. You told me your number?
I just gave it to you.
Yeah, no, I know. I just want to make sure I have the right one.
Right. Just let me see it, and
Can't repeat it from memory?
I mean, so far this trailer's good at building some tension. So far.
Yeah.
It's written by Ian McDonald. The name sounds very familiar. Ian McDonald. And this movie is going to be coming out October 18th, so not that far.
Hey, just in time for the Halloween season.
Just in time for the Halloween season. Women can feel very safe in their cozy watching a good old serial killer movie. Ian McDonald here. Yeah, let me see. I feels I feel like
He did a screenplay for Rodney and Cheryl.
Rodney and Cheryl do not know it.
Yeah, I mean that's what it says on Wikipedia.
Okay. So yeah, this kind of feels like more of a teaser. So it was a little bit more of a teaser trailer here. Kind of introducing you to the vibe, I guess, of the movie that's kind of going on here.
Which I'm all for.
I didn't know about this. I didn't know about this case there. So interesting piece of a little bit of history there that they're kind of going in on. Interested to see what Anna Kendrick has to offer in her directorial debut. It's always interesting seeing actors become directors and kind of go behind the camera and see what they can do there. George Clooney did it. He actually made one of my favorite movies, Confessions of a Dangerous Mind there. Which I love that movie, and he hasn't really done anything since that's matched that. Yeah, I think his last one was what Leatherheads. I think it was. I think it was his last one.
That Leatherheads, man, you're going way back to the early 2000s.
Yeah. I can't remember what the very last one he did. But yeah. You kind of get that going there, but yeah, so it's kind of a little bit more. Yeah, it's a teaser there, kind of introducing you to it. October 18th.
The atmosphere, the tension, at least from the teaser, looks good.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see there, and maybe the movie will also cover how he got caught. Yeah, how he ended up getting catch there. So yeah, Woman of the Hour. Quick thoughts on that, and we got one last one, and we'll be heading out of here. And that is for the Bong Joon-ho film Mickey 17. I've been very much looking forward to this film there. It was supposed to come out this year, but ended up getting pushed back. The cast of this is really great. Bong Joon-ho, we mentioned before, has not missed yet. And he also did the 2019 film Parasite, which I think is probably one of the best films of the 2010s, you could say. Very, very strong contender of that. He also did Snowpiercer, which I loved a lot. He's also done Okja. He's also done Mother, The Host, Memories of Murder, Barking Dogs. That's his filmography there. So let's take a look at the trailer for Mickey 17 here.
Experiencing any vertigo?
I guess I am feeling a little dizzy.
Oh, wow! Did you see that?
Now, I wouldn't be surprised if you're thinking at this point, what have I done?
and this is Robert Pattinson here, who's playing the titular character, doing a voice. He's doing a little bit of a voice
Yeah,
here.
yeah, he's doing something different.
How would you describe the voice? You think?
I would describe him as maybe Pennsylvanian accent,
Mm.
kind of
Okay.
maybe doing a Pennsylvania kind of a blue collar accent.
Kind of similar to what he did a little bit in what was that movie? I love that movie. The Safdie brothers film. Damn, I'm blanking on the name of it right now. It's coming to me. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Good Time. Yeah, that's
Oh,
it.
Good Times. Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Nothing was working out, and I wanted to get off of Earth.
You're applying to be an expendable?
Yeah.
You read through the whole application.
I should have read through it.
Once you die, we'll print a new version of your body.
They made me work my ass off on one mission after another.
Every time you die, we learn something new, and humanity moves forward.
Oh, wait. He's alive. It's fine.
My life is gonna be
Vicky, it's not looking very good for you.
Yeah, no. I'm sure you're used to it by now, but what's it feel like to die?
That's Stephen Yeun you got in this. Who's Stephen Yeun?
Steve from The Walking Dead.
Steve from The Walking Dead, who probably has had the
Glenn
best,
from The Walking Dead. Sorry.
has had probably the best career post Walking Dead, I would say.
Yeah, honestly, his career has kind of skyrocketed.
So good for him.
Yeah.
Things like Minari, and he's the voice on Invincible. He also has that movie Mayhem, which is on Netflix, I believe, which people rave about. So yeah, good for him. His career, and he was also in that won a lot of Emmys. That show, which was also on Netflix, Beef, as well.
Oh yeah, he was in Beef too.
Yeah, so good for him. Shout out to him.
17th go around. I hate dying.
Why aren't you dead?
Multiples.
In the case of multiples, we exterminate every individual.
Naomi Ackie, Mark Ruffalo is in this. Naomi Ackie, who we just saw in the movie Blink Twice. We just were talking about that. We just saw her in that. Mark Ruffalo, who he's done some very interesting stuff outside the Marvel stuff. Get the huge checks from Marvel, go and do these kind of little smaller movies here.
Yeah, he's got the money to burn at this point.
Yeah, and he was great in Poor Things. I thought he should have won for Best Support. I thought he was really good in Poor Things. I thought he was really funny in that movie. And you also have the actress, what's her name from Hereditary is also in this. Toni Collette. Toni Collette. is also-
These secondhand baloney boys.
Why don't you guys do rock, paper, scissors, and then we'll just shoot the loser.
Tell me quick. Oh, another kick. Tell me quick.
I don't like you.
But I'm you.
I'm not you. I'm gonna kill you.
Tell me quick.
So exciting!
So, what are your thoughts on Mickey 17 there, man?
I think it's interesting that they're kind of at least showing that there's a clear difference between 17 and 18. 17 is a lot more, at least to be similar to the original personality, kind of awkward, weird, kind of way more afraid. 18 seems much more subdued, more dour, more almost competent. I'm wondering if there's going to be an explanation on why 18 is different from 17 in that manner, and why he hates himself. Like,
yeah,
he's like, I hate you, and it's like, but I am you. It's like, I'm gonna kill you, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Bong Joon-ho, very much, he goes a lot of kind of, with sci-fi, so he kind of plays around those some of like something with Snowpiercer. Okja, I guess you could also say is science fiction. I guess you could say that's
They're
science.
on a train that shouldn't function but does. That's science
Um,
fiction enough.
no, I was talking about Okja.
Oh, Ojo.
I think you would qualify that. Yeah, kind of science fiction, fantasy type situation there. Yeah, so he kind of does a lot, and he uses kind of those themes to convey more of a broader message there. And you see kind of what's going on here. This guy signing up for this program, basically signing his life away there for this company, making clones of him to be,
Yeah,
you know,
he's like he's a literal expendable.
expendable there.
He's a
Uh,
we can just keep making you over and over and over again. You've signed your basically right to your body, everything away,
yeah, I mean, it's kind
which
of
is
similar
yeah.
to Hollywood. I mean, what they're doing with the AI stuff, basically, exactly.
Honestly, this isn't unfortunately, too far in the future, which is really honestly disgusting that that's even going to be a thing. But
Yeah.
if we keep allowing some kind of legal rights, because at a certain point you kind of go, okay, I don't think we should ever allow that because this situation is going to be bad. He The director of these type of movies, he's always been good at taking science fiction or horror or any aspect of that and turning it back at society or turning and making a point of it. In 2007 he did the movie The Host, which I really love. That one is kind of ahead of its time in talking about the government, talking about how it handles a disease situation, how society handles a disease situation, well, way before anything like a COVID or anything like that. It was very interesting to see how we kind of handle that situation and how family dynamics and it's like dynamics worked as well. And that extended to Parasite, where that was a social dynamic movie talking about the difference between social variance of the poor versus the rich and the difference between those class barriers. And this one seems to kind of also kind of be in a, well, if you just sign your life away, what is a human life then? And if you're just really expendable, how does that a society that allows someone to be expendable, how would you get to that point? At least from what I see, Earth looks like we've allowed Earth to basically be a shithole at that point.
Mhm.
Because from what I can see, like, oh, we're just standing in the spiral thing going up, and in the background you can see like paper and dust just kind of bellowing against the glass top, and you're like, looks like we've kind of done some damage to Earth.
Mm, yeah. You know what this movie kind of reminds me of the premise of it? It's
Mm.
one of my favorite sci-fi movies of all time. It's a movie called Moon. This movie came out.
Oh, the Sam Rockwell one. I was just about to bring that up.
Yeah, and this was directed by Duncan Jones, who's the son of David Bowie there. And Duncan Jones, yeah, he made this, and then after this, he made Source Code. Then he made a movie we don't talk about, Mute or whatever. It's kind of
Yeah,
shitty, but whatever. But
we're not gonna
he
talk
made
about it.
he really knocked it out of the park with his directorial debut here with Moon with Sam Rockwell. I absolutely love this movie, and I mean, it has a similar premise to Mickey 17. I mean, it's kind of a spoiler there, but fantastic movie. I mean, really, really fantastic film
Especially for
there.
the budget, the limit of budget.
Yeah, the limited budget that it kind of had. So yeah, kind of something reminds me of that that you have here. So I wonder if yeah, that's what it really kind of reminds me of watching the trailer for this Mickey 17. For
Yeah.
this.
If we
Um,
if we have one review we kind of regret or caught us at a really good moment, but in hindsight, we're like, what were we thinking? The movie that we're not going to talk about is one of those reviews where I kind of go, I don't know what my previous self was thinking. I
mm,
think I was trying to be overly generous with that one, but
Mute? You talking about?
yeah,
Oh,
basically, I remember being a lot more positive about it, but in hindsight, I'm like, no, man, that movie's a mess. I was trying to be very positive with it, but yeah, in hindsight, that's a mess of a movie. I still don't understand that movie. I remember it, but I still don't remember it. I still don't understand why he made it the way he did.
yeah, and that the review's up on our channel. If people want to check it out.
Hmm.
It is up on our channel. But yeah, I mean, again, like I said, always looking forward to Bon Joon-ho, his work. Can't wait to see this film. It is coming out next year, early next year in January. I hope it's good. Usually, I mean, January is not the dump truck anymore month like it kind of used to be. Um, you know, sometimes you can get some kind of gems out there. January, February. I think Bad Boys 3 was what, February. I think that movie came out, and that was really a good surprise. I was like, hey, it's pretty good. So maybe we can get something great there in January with his film Mickey 17. All right. So yeah, that was our thoughts there on these trailers. And we'll go ahead and raid somebody. Let's see. Shay is on. I'll go ahead. I haven't raided her before. She's playing Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2. Shay's a good person, great streamer there. Very, very sweet. Thank you, Katie, for stopping by there.
Yeah, thank you.
Very much appreciated there. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give her a raid. Thank you, Dust, for stopping by for this
Yeah, no
night to
problem.
review these things.
And thank you, Katie, for the compliment.
Yes, gave you a very good compliment here. Always love to
Appreciate it.
hear that as a podcast. All right. Yes. So next streams, I'll be back with Nick. Hopefully, we're doing a review for Transformers 1 and the Substance. And if any news drops, we'll talk about that. No streams planned for Saturday or Sunday as of yet, but Monday I'm going to be with Sage from Rated M for Immaturity, and we are going to be doing a review for Hunter x Hunter, the anime. And we're also going to be doing a review for Terminator 1984. No stream planned for next Wednesday as of yet, but those are the upcoming streams that we have planned. And of course, as always, you can follow us on all the social medias: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Blue Sky, all the afternoon tune. Just type it in and be able to find us. If you want to send us an email, you can do so at theafternoon@gmail.com. We also where we listen to podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You see on any of those platforms. Make sure to leave a good 5-star review. It speeds up the podcast and does a lot for us. Twitch.tv/afternoon tune. Usually streaming every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, sometimes Wednesday there, usually 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you see us on any of those platforms, make sure you leave a good 5-star review. Follow. Sorry about that. Follow. Make sure you give us a follow there on those platforms. Trying to get Twitch there, trying to get the 600 followers there. YouTube.com. Type in the afternoon tune and try to get 2K subs by the end of this year. That'd be awesome if we could do that. Trying to hit 1K followers by the end of this year on Twitch. I'm going to send you over to Shayla, playing this good old Call of Duty here. Very awesome there. So yeah, thanks for reviewing those movies.
Yeah, no problem.
And to all you people out there, stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Awesome.